Well, I'm doing just great, and it's great to talk to you. Things are coming up roses for Don McLean right now because I've got the home free version of the song. The video is number one on iTunes, and the original version of the song that I made 50 years ago is number one on iTunes sales chart. So, what do you think about that all those years later? Isn't that something?
Wow. So tell us, it wasn't until your song was released that it came out that people started referring to Big Bopper and Buddy Holly and Richie Valens as the day the music died. Share with us a little bit about that.
That developed over many, many years. It didn't start in the beginning, um, but American Pie was a phenomenon the moment it was released, right from the beginning, and it right away became number one immediately. And then people wanted to have the whole song on the charts, so the whole song became number one. And then, you know, people recognized that I was talking about the plane crash that took Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. They figured it out, I guess, from February and all that other stuff, and they realized that that's what it was about. And I dedicated the album to Buddy Holly. So over the years, when the 3rd of February would come along, the song would, be played like crazy, and gradually writers started calling that day the day that music died, and it became a landmark um, in the world of rock and roll, which is, grown in importance, to gigantic proportions over these 50 years. In the old days, when Buddy was around, rock and roll was, kids music and fun music for kids, um, but it wasn't taken seriously by adults. And of course, the teenage population, which was the baby boom, became the main uh, population. So they took their rock and roll with them as they grew up. And of course, more and more people followed, and more beautiful music and important music and advances were made and innovations were made in producing records and so on and so forth. But the funny thing is, you still can't touch a lot of Buddy Holly's songs. No matter how much innovation you do, no matter how many new ways you can play guitar or synthesizers, you can't beat Rave On or Peggy Sue or Think It Over or any of those songs. You can't touch them.
That is so true. So you had the honor to have your song added to the National Recording Registry in the Library of Congress. Tell us a little bit about how that felt.
Well, of course, that's a great honor, and um, I just don't know. These things come down every now and then from the government. One that came down was I was invited to sing at the turn of the century in Washington, D.C. And of course, this was when we were worried about Y2K. You remember that?
Mhm.
They were worried about some adjustment in the computers, that all of a sudden there was going to be planes falling out of the sky and everything. So I was looking forward to staying home with my family and watching, um, the ball come down for New Year's Eve. And I get a fax from the White House inviting me to come to Washington. So I'm thinking, oh no, now I got to be on a plane with everybody, my children and everybody, and go to Washington right when the Y2K thing is supposed to happen. So I was a nervous wreck, but I said, I got to go. So I went, and it's funny, I was sitting in the airport, and I think I read that I don't remember whether it was Gene Autry, Roy Rogers, or the Lone Ranger. One or the other passed away, and I thought, oh boy, none of those greats ever made the 21st century. And I thought maybe I'm not destined to make the 21st century either, you know. So all these thoughts were going through my mind. But we made it, and I sang American Pie at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial in front of 600,000 people who were gathered around the reflecting pool and looking directly at the Washington Monument. And when the year 2000 came, the entire Washington Monument lit up and it said 2000 at the top. So that's a memory I'll always have.
So, being a songwriter, many have influences of who they try to style their songs after. Who would be some of those influences for you?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know if I think there's a rock and roll, like I really understand 50s rock and roll very well. I know a lot of songs, and I understand popular music, ballads that were written, beautiful ballads. I don't know how to play the right chords because they're sophisticated. That's why I have Tony Migliori, my piano player, who knows how to play the right chords. And then there's folk music. I can play the right chords to those songs. And I know that music, but I don't think, I never tried to sound like anybody else. I think I was an amalgam of things, and so the net result of my style is a little bit confusing because it's rock and roll, but I also do ballads I sound like a straight up pop singer, and then I'll do songs that I write, which are a combination of all of that. And American Pie is a very good example of that. It's a combination of pop music, rock music, and folk music in terms of its form. So I don't think I ever really tried to sound like anybody else.
Well, Don, it has been an honor having you here on the program. Tell us how folks can purchase your music or find out more about you.
Well, if you go to the Don McLean YouTube channel, you'll have a lot of fun. I'm right there, and I do a lot of talking to the audience, and there are very many different videos there that you can see. And if you want to have some of my music, all of my songs are available on just about every streaming platform there is. So you can hear it. If you want to hear all the songs on Chain Lightning, you can do that, or the songs on Believers, or the Western album, or Chain Lightning, or rather Prime Time, anything like that. You can hear the songs, and if you want to own the record, you can purchase it.
Well, thank you so much, Don. God bless you, and we look forward to having you on again sometime.
I think we have a frozen, yeah.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. We look forward to having you on again sometime.
Thanks for having me, man. I liked it.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.